Set a meet with Jose Battle. He can help us change the balance of power.
I'll deal with Bumpy Johnson.
We need to get as far away as possible.
There's one thing you guys never seem to remember.
Why?
Harlem, it's mine.
Bumpy Johnson sits down with the bosses. Malcolm wants to take Elise to Africa without Betty. Columbo violates and kidnaps Bumpy's wife for a little afternoon stroll, just for a little bit, but Bumpy is not playing. What's going on, fam? It's your man, VACAY-J, and yes, I'm back with another video. This is for Godfather of Harlem Season 3, Episode 2 recap. And yeah, the war is on, family. Yeah, a big war is about to brew up. Yeah, there's about to be hell up in Harlem. And I'm here, right here, to break it down for all of you with this quick recap. Definitely let me know what your thoughts are as well. And let's break it down. So here we are, fam, the 1960s. That's right. The fight for civil rights is on and on fire. And yes, we got Malcolm. He's still in New York, and Bumpy is here to protect his good friend. At the same time, deal with the ups and downs of dealing with the Italians and all the deals that he needs to make in order to keep Harlem on his side. So we have Malcolm here in Queens, and he's saying how his neighbors appreciate how, you know, Bumpy's protecting him and protecting the whole block. He's talking about going to Africa, but Bumpy doesn't think it's a good idea, but he also wants to take Elise, you know, and Betty's not going. And yes, you know, Bumpy's not feeling that at all, but they're like, hey, you know, she's gonna have to decide what she wants to do. So here comes Mamie, Bumpy's wife, out of the grocery store. And yeah, she's walking down the block, and we see this Italian guy sitting on a car, and he rolls up on Mamie talking about, yeah, you know, my boss wants to meet with you. And she's like, who's your boss? Who's your boss? That's all right. And she tries to get away, but he forces her to get into the car. Who was it? Joe Columbo, right? Joe Columbo trying to make a deal, wheeling deal with Bumpy's wife. He is now in violation of the codes, right? No wives, no kids. But he's talking to her about trying to convince Bumpy to make a deal with him because he has a multi-million-dollar chop shop. And he wants Bumpy to get a piece of it. At the same time, he wants Harlem. That's all he wants. He wants Harlem along with Ching. They all want Harlem. They want a piece of Harlem, and Bumpy is the man that could possibly give it to him. So she takes the drink and she thinks about it. She tells Bumpy, and of course, Bumpy's upset. I'll be upset too. You know what I'm saying? One of the bosses takes my wife on an afternoon stroll. You got to be out of your mind. You're violating. You know, he overstepped. But she's like, yo, he didn't hurt me. It's okay. He's like, yo, I'm about to take him. I'm about to take his head off. But of course, she's like, no, he didn't touch me. And, you know, how dare you have a strap underneath the piano? But she's just like, you know what? You're violating yourself by robbing the bank, robbing your own community, you know, and you knew what was going to happen. You knew where the money was. And of course, Bumpy's like, yo, the government's going to cover that. We needed that money to do what we had to do. And she's like, yeah, you know what? You're messing up my own career. And he's calling her secretary of Adam Clayton Powell. And she's like, you know what? I'm not even trying to hear this. And it is what it is. So here we go with Malcolm. Malcolm is talking to Elise. And yeah, they're talking about the baby girl and how she's, you know, happy and everything. And he offers her the opportunity to go to Africa with him. You know, he needs to meet up with her in Africa. And after he goes to Mecca, and he wants her to be there. And she's like, you know, what about Betty? He's like, it was Betty's idea for her to go with him to be an executive assistant to watch over him. So, of course, you know, she is in love with him. So we're going to see what happens with that. You know, she wants to go. Here goes Bumpy. He goes to the boss, the Italian boss, and says, yo, this is how you guys are doing now. You know, you're taking afternoon strolls with my wife. And, of course, you know, the boss is like, yo, I'm the boss of all bosses. He violated. I'm going to take care of it. And Bumpy's like, yo, that's not enough. So he says, listen, we're all going to meet together. We're going to settle this out, all the bosses, and we're going to sit down. Of course, Bumpy is upset. Like, how dare he? You know, how dare he get Bumpy's wife in the car and try to sit down with her and give her information? So he's like, yo, if y'all take off the gloves, I'm going to be forced to take off my gloves. And I'm going to fight you bare knuckle. All right? Put up your dukes. Bumpy's not playing. So he goes back and tells, you know, the ladies, listen, you guys are going down south. And, you know, of course, Mamie's like, we're not going down south. You know, baby girl couldn't sleep. We all had anxiety. It's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So we're not leaving. You know, if anything, you know, we can send baby girl down south and she can stay there, but I have to stay here and be in Harlem. And of course, you know, Elise wants to go to Africa, but he's telling her that's not a good idea. It's not going to go down. So now here we are in the meeting. Bumpy's with his boys, and they're like, yo, we're trying to get all the crews together, but because the doogie got burnt up, they're not with it. And we come to find out Colombo is trying to make an offer to these other crews. So he says, hook it up with the crews. I want to meet with the leaders of the crew. So he says, yeah, he finally got the doogie, and they're all happy, and they're all, you know, excited, right? And he says, you know, before we do this, do you have a problem? So he's talking to one of the leaders, like, yeah, you know, Colombo offered us something, but that's before, you know, you got the doogie, right? So they pull off the cover, and it's a bunch of bricks, right? And dude is like, yo, what is this? What's going on here? So homeboy comes from the back, and Bumpy gives him a little bump in the neck. And yeah, dude falls on the ground, and yeah, foam comes out of his mouth. And it was a sign to his boys, and he tells the guys, listen, go back to your men. Tell them either you're with me or you're dead. Bottom line, he was trying to send a signal to the rest of the crews that Bumpy's not playing. So a lawyer comes to Joe Colombo and he says, yeah, Chin will get behind you to help you with the bosses, but you gotta protect his baby girl, right? Stella, but you gotta find her first. Well, Stella, she went out of town. Looks like she went to Philly or somewhere close, right? Not too far. But you know what? Your boys Colombo catches up with Stella, and they go in there and take her and bring her to Colombo. Of course, Colombo is like, listen, you know, your father wanted me to protect you and everything else like that. The stepmother was trying to get her killed, but yeah, now Colombo is going to protect Stella, okay? So Stella won't be in danger as of right now, but with a little glimpse into the future, we see that, yeah, Stella and Colombo might be getting together. Stella be getting around, y'all. She be getting around for real. Like, seriously. Yeah, or maybe she's just trying to get up out of there. We'll see. So now we see the same guys, and they were dropped off in front of Bumpy's place. Bumpy thinks it's a message from Colombo that, yeah, it's about to go down. So Bumpy has an idea. They set the meeting to meet Jose Battle. He's a Cuban leader out there in Spaniards Harlem. And so Bumpy can have more men, you know, because, you know, Jose Battle has a lot of men. They can combine forces, but he consults with his religion and, you know, it doesn't look good. There's a negative energy, so he says no to Bumpy. Now, Jose Battle also has a relationship with Joe Colombo, and he said that, you know, Bumpy did come by, but he said no as far as joining forces. So Colombo's like, how about you come to the meetup? We're going to be sitting down with the rest of the bosses. So the bosses say, hey, you know what? You sell the doogie, you keep 80%, we're going to get 20% and give 10% to Jose Battle. And they're like, yo, why? Why should we put him in? And Joe Colombo's like, it's a different time. So Bumpy says, go F yourself, walks out, and Jose Battle comes behind him and says, hey, you know what? Yeah, the shells they're not always right. They told me to marry 4 of my ex-wives. You know what? I'd rather be in battle with you than anybody else. So they agree to lock arms, 50-50 as far as business. And yeah, here we go. The Cubans and the blacks are coming together. Now, the real MVP is definitely young Margaret, because she tells Bumpy that she's old enough to take the bus down south, and, you know, she can do whatever she needs to do with school. And yes, you know, Elise can go to Africa so she can experience it and come back to tell her everything. So, of course, you know, Bumpy can't say no to her. So it is what it is. There's a war, family. That's right. There's a war about to happen with the Italians, the blacks, and the Cubans. So your boy Bumpy definitely has Jose Battle on his side. We're going to see what happens in the next episode. I'm looking forward to it, fam. Definitely, if you're loving this video, liking this video, absolutely hit me with that subscribe button. If you're brand new, definitely hit me with that like button. Absolutely comment and absolutely share if you're loving what's going on here, family. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Listen, if you're loving this video, liking this video, you appreciate this video, absolutely watch this next one right here. I appreciate you all for watching. Let's keep this thing going. Until next time, salute.